So hello and welcome back to Database Management Systems. I'm Javita Christie, and this video is in continuation of the previous video where we were creating the employees database. So in this one, we are going to create the remaining two relations and also assign the foreign keys. Make sure you pause the video whenever you feel that you need to complete whatever has been done. So you can pause and I'll announce when you can pause. So let's start with the projects relation. Once again, this uses the document right here. This document has been also linked in the description box. You can check it and use it for your reference and insert data according to this. So this projects relation contains 6 columns, and these are their data types. And project ID is, of course, primary key. Depth code is a foreign key, but we are not going to create it right now. We are not going to make foreign keys right now. So let's start. We'd write create table projects, which is the name of the table, and then all the column names with their data type. So project ID character 8, it's a primary key, comma. Next is depth code with character 5, description with variable character 200, start date, and this is having the date data type. Stop date has the date data type again. Revenue is having numeric 12,2, and close the bracket, semicolon, table created. Let's check it out. So we will describe the table, and you can see that these are the columns and these are their data types. So if they are matching, if yours are matching with this, then you've inserted everything correctly. You've created the table correctly. So make sure you pause over here and create your own table in your own computer, and then move on to the next section. So let's go ahead and insert some data into the projects relation now. What you see on top is the data that we are going to insert into the projects relation. So you can see that there are 4 rows over here, and those rows we are going to insert. I'm writing the insert query because for the first time we need to write it. Afterwards you can just use /. So insert into projects, write down names of all the columns, and so start date, stop date, revenue, and once that is done, then we write values and repeat those column names with ampersand. Ampersand project ID, ampersand depth code, ampersand description, ampersand start date, ampersand stop date, and ampersand revenue, and semicolon. And now the first row is M happy. So make sure you're writing it correctly with capital letters. Admin, description is employee moral, E and M capital. Now date should be inserted in this manner, single quotes, 14th, and this 3 will be converted to MAR capital letters. So 14th March 2002 is written in that way. Null, of course, without single quotes. And once you're done, you can do / for the next row. Here you can insert ADT for MFIA, all capitals. Depth code is also in capital letters. The description, remember M and A are capital. Then the start date is 3rd July 2003. So we'll write 03 JUL 2003. Stop date is 30th November, so 30-NOV-2003 single quotes. And the revenue is 1,00,000. Now again /. Next one is Robo SPSE CE capitals, CNSLT capitals. Now robotic spouse with R and S capital. Date is 14th-MAR-2002 and null without single quotes. Revenue is 2,42,000.00 and / again, insert the last row. It is DNLDCLNT. Debt code is capital CNSLT. Description is download client. The start date is 3rd February, so 03, capital Feb and 2005, single quote. And stop date is null without single quotes, and revenue is 18,150. So that's it, all the rows inserted. Now see, when you try to do select star from projects, then what happens is the data looks like this. So if you look at it carefully, you'll be able to understand. But the reason why the data comes in that way is because the description column had 200 characters. So which is why and also this table contains many columns. So which is why it is not fitting, and that's why it shows in that way. So while creating the table, you assigned 200 characters to this column, and that's why it is showing in this manner. So you can just try to, if you want to verify the data properly, you can just display a few columns at a time. So let's say you can try and display project ID and debt code and description together. So just select project ID, debt code, description from projects, and then you can verify the data, whatever you see. This will be a little less confusing, so you'll be able to verify it. And afterwards, you can do select start date, stop date, and revenue from projects. And then you can verify that data. And then make sure that you commit. At each point, if you forget to write this command, which is commit command, then your data will not be saved. And it's possible that the next time when you close SQL Plus and you open it the next time, then the table might be there, but the data might be gone. So you'll have to insert it again in that case. So I've already taught commit command in the previous video. So make sure you use it frequently to save all the data that you have written, that you have inserted and created. And also I'd like to point out why these stop dates are null. Wherever the stop date is null, that means that project is an ongoing project, and we are going to use this fact later on for some queries. So wherever it is null, it means this project is not over, but it is still going to continue, or it is still going on. So that's why it is null. Okay. You can pause the video here and finish implementing this part. Now let's go ahead and create the Workson relation. Now this is slightly different because you can see it has two primary keys. It has employee ID as a primary key and project ID also as a primary key. So it's a little bit different, and the way to create it is also a little bit different. And I'm going to first show you the type of error that you can get if you create it in the normal way by just writing primary key next to the data type. So let's look at that first. So if you write it in this manner, create table, Workson, and then if you mention employee ID as numeric 9 data type, and next to it if you're writing primary space key, And then next you are doing comma project ID, character 8, and trying to do primary key again, and then assigned time with decimal 3,2. And it gives you an error, and the error says that one table can have only one primary key. Let me just go back and show you that error. It says one table right here. A table can have only one primary key. So this type of error will always come if you try to define primary key in this way. This works when there's only one column to be made a primary key, but if there are two, you have to use a slightly different approach while creating the table. And this is what it looks like. You're going to write down create table Workson, and you will mention all the column names. So employee ID numeric 9, project ID character 8, assigned time decimal 3,2, and then once you're done, put a comma. Remember the comma, there has to be a comma there, and then you write down primary space key, and then in bracket mention the columns that you want to use as primary key. So, and then when you create the table, it will be created successfully. And then you can go ahead and describe this table, and you can see that it is matching with the schema provided. You might notice that sometimes this numeric word which we used over here, it got converted into number. And that's because it considers all such data types as numbers. So even decimal is shown as number. So it doesn't matter whether you use numeric or decimal, it is going to show you in the same way. You can go ahead and pause here and implement this and then come back to the video. Okay, let's start and insert data into the Workson relation now. So this is the data we will be inserting. It contains 6 rows and there are only 3 columns, so this shouldn't be so difficult. Make sure you take care of the spellings given over here. Otherwise, you'll have trouble creating the foreign key. And in case you mess something up and write an incorrect spelling or something, you can always delete the row or change the value in a particular column using the update and delete queries. I have linked that video down below explaining the update and delete queries. So let's go ahead. First time we have to write the query. So insert into Workson and mention all the column names, employee ID, project ID, and assigned time. And then write down values. Use ampersand, ampersand employee ID, ampersand project ID, and ampersand assigned time. And once you're done, put a semicolon and enter all the values. So 2, capital letters, ADT4, MFI. You can turn on your caps lock key at this time because everything is capital. 0.5 assigned time, / for the next row. So it is 3, and then ROBOSPSE, and 0.75 assigned time. And again, / for the next row, which is 4, and again ROBOSPSE, and 0.75 again. So again, one more row created. And now for the next row, / next one is 5, again ROBOSPSE, and assigned time 0.5. Again, / employee ID is 5. Project ID is ADT4MFIA, and again 0.6 assigned time. And the last row can be inserted now. 3, DNLD CLNT, all capital letters, and then assigned time is 0.25. So all the rows are inserted, and let's go ahead and check the table. So we deselect star from Workson and it gives us all the 6 rows. So this is what your table looks like. And at this point, we have inserted everything. All the whole database is ready. We just have to insert the foreign keys now. But you can check your data once again, pause the video here. And if you find there are any errors, please use the update and delete queries to make modifications. Okay, we are down to the last part of the video, which is creating foreign keys. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, we are going to create a foreign key for this table right here, which is the employees table. And you can see that in the document you are given, that dept code is a foreign key. And it is written that it's a foreign key referencing the department's .code. So we are going to use that. That means dept code is borrowing the primary key of the department's table. So let's go ahead and do that. We have to use the alter table query because we've already created the table. So alter table employees, modify, and now in bracket you will mention dept code, which is the column we want to modify, and then write down references departments and then in bracket code, because it is referring the department's table of it is referring the code column of the department's table. So that's why we have written it in that way, and it says table altered. At this point, two things can happen. One is that you will get this same message that I'm getting, which means you successfully created the foreign key, or you will get an error saying parent key not found. You can get this error if while inserting data, you made some spelling mistakes. Because in order to make a foreign key, it is necessary that whatever values are there in dept code are matching with the values available in the code column of the department's table. And by matching, I mean the spellings should match. I'm not saying that whatever is in dept code should be exactly the same. That's not possible because departments has less number of rows than employees table. But the values should match. Another problem could be that you wrote the word null in single quotes while inserting data. So that could be also a problem. And if you're facing these problems, you can go ahead and update in those places in the employees table and then try out this query. Okay, so that is for the departments, employees table. And now let's do the departments table. Here we need to create two foreign keys. So you're going to do them together. So modify, and we will write down manager ID, which is referring, it's given here employee ID. So employees in bracket, employee ID, write down comma, and the next one is sub dept of, which references the departments table, the table itself, and the code column. And once we mention that, we will close and semicolon, it says created. Again, you may receive the same errors. If you get the errors, please compare all the spellings, check all the spellings that you've entered. Even if something was capital and you made it small, you could get an error here. So this foreign key is also created. You can pause here, try to do it on your own, and then come back to the video. Now let's go ahead and do the next table. So the next table is the projects table. You can see up there, dept code is the foreign key, which refers department's code. So alter table projects modify. We're going to write dept code references the table departments and the code column from there. And that's it. This is also altered. Please pause and solve all your errors if you're getting any errors. Otherwise, you can continue. Let's go to the next one. Next one is Workson table, and it has two foreign keys. So we are going to do it twice with a comma. So alter table Workson modify. Employee ID, references. You can see it's written employees dot employee ID. So we're going to write employees in bracket employee ID, comma. Project ID, references, projects, and in bracket project ID. So it says table altered. So everything is done. And now I'm going to commit and make sure you do that too. Otherwise your data will be gone the next time you open your command line. So that's it. Our database is ready and we are ready to perform all the exciting queries that we are going to do in the coming videos on this database. I hope you all created this successfully. Feel free to ask any questions about any errors that you are getting. And thank you for watching. See you in the next video.